Everyone. I'm just going to give a couple more minutes here, just 1 or 2 minutes, just to make sure we've got everybody. There's still a few people in the waiting room. Zoom's letting in here, and then we'll get started. So just hold tight for just a second. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So thank you, everybody, for joining, first of all. We really appreciate having you here. Really appreciate the interest in our Mapbox. Also, thanks to Focus Polar at Work, obviously, for putting on this chaos show. A lot of cool presentations going on. So we appreciate the invitation. Yeah, so just to quickly cover the way we're going to interact on Zoom here. I'm going to go over quite a bit of stuff before we get to questions. I'm going to try to answer all the questions that we receive pretty often, and hopefully I answer everything just in the presentation. But feel free to throw a question into the chat box whenever. We're not going to do any live questions, just so we don't have to deal with people talking over each other or all that stuff. So we'll interact through chat. So feel free to put something up in the chat box whenever, and we'll address it. So yeah, good move on for now though. So first of all, my name is Van, and yeah, I'm co-owner here at Light Widow with Colton, who is our lead engineer, and we're a very small team, but we've been working on this for a couple of years passionately. We're really excited about our product, and it's been generating a lot of excitement. So we're really glad to know that it is, it's being received well. This is our demo unit. We have a number of these demo units finished, and they're just going out now for testing. We've had a prototype out in the field for the last 4 or 5 months now. Here's a couple pictures of a prototype. So we've received a lot of helpful input just with our prototype already, and taken some pretty big steps between our prototype release and these demo releases. But we're going to continue to gather feedback over the next few months before the final release of this product. So so I guess what I'm going to start with is really just the most common concerns about our Mapbox that we get these questions all the time. So I'm going to address these things first. The very first thing is just kind of everyday use. This is really just intended only to save time on set. Obviously the use of Velcro filter tags is pretty common on film sets, and it takes a good amount of time to take a filter tag on and off. So we don't want to be taking any extra time on set. So all of the work with programming filters and anything like that is done either in prep days or at the rental house. It can be done on set if needed, but shouldn't ever have to be. So it's just speeding up the process while you're actually working. So when you pull filter in and out, the filter is showing up. So the basic function of this Mapbox is just to replace the filter tags, but it does also gather data on the filters. So later in post-production, you'll be able to reference data, so that if you're doing a pickup day or if the colorist knows a certain filter tints a certain color or whatever, all that information will be available also. I do want to do a quick, another question we get a lot is the weight comparison. So here is an RE LMB, and you can see that they're very similar size. The LMB is obviously the kind of gold standard right now on the market. This is just a 2-stage configuration, so it's a little thinner right now. But yeah, our map box is a hair heavier, but once you get fully stacked with filters, it's really just a very, very small difference. So we have managed to keep it very lightweight, and this form factor is essentially the exact same size. Yeah, another question we get a lot is battery life. So the battery life on this is, with continuous use, around 2 months. So it's not something you have to charge every day by any means. Yeah, it'll last months and months if it's just sitting on a shelf. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the actual demo part here. So those are just the most common concerns we get. Yeah, so I have some filters. So the basic idea of our map box is you just put a filter in and it will automatically show up on the display here. So you can see I just put the ND in, and it does read the stages accurately as well. So if I put a second filter in, it will continue to move up. Yeah, and so this is, right now it is configured so that the bottom stage is the closest to the lens. I know that it's kind of common to have it the other direction. That's all customizable. Everything about that is customizable. And I'm going to grab one more filter here. Just a quick look at the RFID tag on the side. So these are what's the map box is reading. And so this is like as thin as a piece of tape. It's this tiny little thing. Yeah. So I'll get back to that too. I have a number of trays out right now, obviously. Yeah, and so there, it's, 3-stage map box always lets you know which stage is which. And then I do want to also show a couple other options you can do here. So if I reverse this, so I have a filter tag on each side of this filter right now, and they're programmed slightly differently. So there are other options, as you can see, like black on white text versus white on black. So you can have the default screen background be either black or white, and that way tags will show up like this. You can also, this one I believe is actually the one that shows up with a red light. Yeah, so there's a backlight on this that will show up different colors when you put these filters in. That's all of this is optional and customizable to move these, move the tags and colors around, whatever. So just fully customizable there. I'm not going to go through all of those customizations because there are just so many different options, but it's all very easy to navigate. Yeah. So there's also a mode right now. You can see the way ND.3 is displayed here. It's like a little small, so we do have a focus mode, which Colton will switch to here for me. Yeah, and so here's what a focus mode would look like. So you can see the number is showing up much bigger than the type. So we have a grad ND and the ND showing up kind of small. So if you're just using NDs for a day, for instance, the 0.3 is like nice and big and readable, and you can keep the ND small. But if you're using a lot of different kinds of filters, maybe you'd keep it in the other mode so that it's easy to see, which filter it actually is. Cool. So yeah, I'll get back to the filters a little more in a bit. But now I'm going to go to the mechanical functionality of this map box. So this is obviously, like I said, built very similarly to the RE LMB map box, which, so our goal is to make a map box that isn't interrupting your everyday workflow. It's not a big change. It's essentially what you're used to working with, but just has the additional benefit of the filter tags on the side and the data. So, the top flag, this is all pretty much the exact same as the LMB. This is actually one of the things we received a lot of input on. We had a different attachment mechanism for our prototype, and people didn't like it. So we just kind of went to a similar way to the LMB. We did get a lot of other feedback though, both on our map box and existing map boxes. So we have a little bit of differences, a few differences here in the backs. If you want to cut to the close-up camera, Colin, yeah, cool. So our back plates, this one's actually on the opposite way, which is one of the features. Yeah, so our back plates come off with just 2 screws, just like existing ones do, but they are a different system. So you can see there's a lever attachment here, which I'll go over with the lens in just a minute here, but this is also fully reversible. So you can put it on either direction. If you want the lever on operator side or on the other side of the camera, it can go either way. It also is, I'm gonna grab the other plate. Here's a 95. It also means that, or the way ours works, it's not possible to like have it slightly misaligned. So if the screws are going in, then it's perfectly aligned. So you can't ever have, you know, an accidentally loose back. And the weight of the matte box doesn't matter, like if it's upside down or not. Like some of the current backs can make it so that if the camera is inverted, the matte box is at a risk of falling off. And ours can't do that. So that's something we've done based on, you know, a lot of feedback from different focus pullers. We've developed this back, and we'll get it out there in our demos and see how it's received. The other part we have is this lever here. So I'm going to grab a lens. Yeah. So with this lever, you have the kind of standard here. So if you just want to keep the lever closed, you can tighten down with just the thumb knob, and that's pretty much what the standard is, right? But if you want to make it even a little tighter, you can clamp the thumb knob down, open the lever, clamp down just a hair more, and close the lever, and it is on there extremely tight. Like there is no way this is coming off. I mean, I would be very comfortable. You know, I can't even get it off. You can't even twist the thumb lever off at this point. So it's a cam lever, which is just, you know, it's using leverage to make it attached to the lens. So you never have to worry about it coming off if you're doing you know, car scenes or whatever. Yeah. So, and then other mechanical things, I guess, is just our tray catchers down here. They're a little different than the RE1. You know, it's not necessarily an improvement or anything, it's just a little different. But yeah, so you have a tray catcher on each side. So if you want to try slide a tray further down through the matte box, if you open this side up, the back tray can slide through. If you open this side up, the front tray can slide through. And you open both up, then all trays can slide through all the way through the matte box. Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so the trays, they are LMB size trays. So if we get like this, where'd that go? Rotopola. Yeah, I can put a rotopola in. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of these trays back there. Yeah. And the other kind of cool thing about this is that, so yeah, you can use existing standard size trays. I'm just gonna get this little demo here. You can see it said polarizer on that side, and if I put it in this way, it will say color shift. So it makes sure if you accidentally put the polarizer in the wrong direction, it will actually warn you, which, you know, happens from time to time. Yeah, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it with the mechanical features. There will be, we have built in addition, you know, future features like possibility for side flags or a mounting plate on the top that'll be NATO with 1/4-20 and 3/8/16 mounting points. And oh yeah, we also have, here's another one of our demos. Yeah, we have the 15mm attachment. This might change a little bit in the future, but, you know, good enough for the demos for right now. We'll have 19mm and eventually swing away as well. Plus, you know, we have the ability to add other things at request. So yeah, it is fully weather sealed also, which is just another question we get as far as that kind of mechanical stuff goes. So yeah, we have had it out in the rain already, and did fine. So should be fine in the rain and the dust. No problems there. Cool. Okay, so yeah, gonna move on to the filter tags a little bit. So I did show you that filter tag. We're still kind of in the early phases with what our final filter tags will look like, but this is probably pretty close. So this is just a little RFID tag. Like I showed earlier, I mean, it just sticks on there. It's super thin. It will fit into any other tray perfectly fine still, because it is really low profile. So here's just the LMB tray. So you see it's not, there's plenty of space in the tray for the filter tag. So if a rental house tags all their filters, it doesn't keep them from being used in other matte boxes. So they still work fine with existing matte boxes. That being said, our trays are different than the RE trays, and they are not aluminum, and they actually they need to be made out of something other than aluminum to read the filter tag. So the RE trays will not work with the filter reading in our matte box. You can still use an aluminum tray; it'll still work mechanically, but the filter reading doesn't work with the aluminum trays. Our trays are made of fiberglass, which we actually approached fiberglass for two reasons, not only because of the filter reading, but originally we were also getting some feedback that sometimes the aluminum trays come from the rental house a little bent and don't really fit in the matte box properly, and so the fiberglass trays won't bend. So that's another benefit with those. Yeah, so that's the tag size, the application. These are just little stick-on tags. They come on and off really easily. So if you do tag filters from a rental house and want to peel them off, they'll peel off nicely without leaving any residue, at least in our testing so far. So that's easy. They're really, really cheap. They'll pretty much just be expendables, somewhere around $1-ish per tag, probably, once we're actually getting them out. And the matte boxes will ship with a number of them just to start with. But yeah, they're semi-reusable, and if the ultimate goal is just to have rental houses tagging all their filters, so that if you get a matte box from the rental house, you won't even need to worry about it. Yeah, so data flow. Like I said, the number one purpose of this is just to eliminate Velcro filter tags. You just know what's in the matte box at all times based on the screen. But we have some goals in the future, one of which being daisy chaining to the camera via motor control. So if you just have the matte box, daisy chain it. We have a USB here. We'll have a USB to LEMO adapter, and you can daisy chain it onto the end of your motor control. And then it can send all of the information, the filter information, straight to not only the screen on the hand unit, but also the screen on the camera, and also the metadata on the camera file. So once you take the camera file into post, that'll just be included in that. The operator will always be able to see what's in the matte box on the camera screen, and the focus puller will always be able to see what's on the matte box on the hand unit display. That is one of our ultimate goals with this. For now, you can still gather, there's an SD card in here, so you can still gather the data later if you want to using the SD card. So it timestamps every time you pull a filter in and out, either with time and date or with timecode if you sync the matte box to timecode. So you can just jam it at the beginning of the day real quick with USB, and it'll just, it might drift a very, very small amount, but it'll be close enough to be able to reference a shot in the timecode if really needed. So that obviously, it saves time. There are certainly, I've been on sets where the script supervisor does take notes about what's in the matte box. I've heard that, scripties will sometimes come up and take pictures even. So should eliminate the need for that, that additional work for the script supervisor as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything with the data workflow, I think. Yeah, as far as programming the tags themselves go, we do have an app. We're not really ready to show it right now because it's still in development. It'll probably be another month before we even have a really usable version. I mean, we have one that works for ourselves. It will be going out with the demo units, but it's not really presentation ready. But it's pretty simple. You have access to all of the every slot in the matte box, so you can customize it. Or if you are programming a tag, you can drag and drop from a list of all pre-existing filters, common filters, or may or not be drag and drop, I guess. But yeah, so it's easy to just start typing in to a search bar what filter you want, and it'll come up with the full list of that specific filter. And then you can program the tag using that. So it'd come up with, for instance, if you're using black pro mist, it would come up with the full range of black pro mist, and you can even put 3 in the matte box at once and program all 3 very quickly, and then move on to the next 3. Again, all prep day or rental house stuff. Hopefully that's not something you have to do very often, but it's easy to do. And then you can customize the color, customize the inversion, customize the. You can customize a lot of global settings, so you can make it so that all NDs show up inverted, or all diffusion filters show up inverted, or a certain color. So yeah, we've put a lot of thought into the app also, and just what to make it so that it's fully customizable, being easy and convenient. So the full screen is it's pretty much a 5-screen app, just a screen for each thing for minute customization, but mainly just one screen with a add button, so you can program and reprogram tags. So very simple to use. You can connect to multiple map boxes. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's pretty much the main overview there. I'm not seeing anything else. Yeah, we'll have the full backplate range. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. So, oh yeah, I guess the last thing possibly is you could offload the SD card, and maybe if we don't get, depending on how quickly we get the integration with the camera, most likely to be red cameras first, probably, because they're just super easy to work with. So that's probably where we'll start on the map box talking to the camera itself. But we might also integrate with software like SilverStack or ShotPut to be able to just offload the SD card, and it might automatically line it up with the files for you. Yeah, again, all the programming stuff, all the data stuff is just really just an added benefit, but we still want to make sure that that workflow is there. So, all right. Yeah, that's all I'm seeing for now. So, yeah, do we have any questions? Oh, actually, yeah. Okay, I do actually have one or two more things to say here about just the timeline of this. Sorry. Yeah, so the timeline of our release, like I said, we're just really focusing on demo input. So we're going to let these demos circulate for a little bit, make sure we get all the feedback necessary to make sure everything's working. So maybe mid next year is kind of when we're hoping to get some of these actually out into the official market. We are working with some rental houses that will be hosting some demo units. We'll post that information once it's available, especially, I mean, those will be probably all American rental houses, but we will be sending maybe one demo to Europe. We've been talking to one rental house there. We'll see how that goes. But past that, yeah, we'll be releasing a lot of these mid next year. You can pre-order that, or you can sign up for pre-order information on our website right now. We do have hundreds of people signed up for that, so just keep an eye out for when we actually do release pre-orders if you want one. We'll send, we'll make sure we send a couple emails before we actually get to the date. It'll be come first serve, first come first serve once we actually get there. But yeah, feel free to go sign up for the list on our website right now.
Okay, we have a question. Can you change the number of filter stages from 2, 3, or 4?
Right now, no. So this version is, so there is, there's an antenna in the map box that works with the filters. So it's not modular at the moment. We will add modules to the back of this, so you could do maybe a diopter stage or possibly a fourth filter stage. It would be a dumb filter stage in this case, meaning it won't actually be able to read the filter. We've had a lot of requests actually for 4-stage map box, so we might make a 4-stage version. Again, we're a pretty small team and we're working as fast as we can even to get this 3-stage one out. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of future projects there as far as the modularity goes, maybe even doing a 2-stage or 3-stage one also. But our initial version is a 3-stage one. Every map box is obviously a tool for its own project. So 3-stage is what we had the highest requests for when we were doing our surveys and stuff earlier in the development of this is, so yeah, if you need to drop down to 2 stages, yeah, I would say we're almost certainly going to be doing a 2-stage one in the future, but the 3-stage one is really going to be our kind of flagship to start with here.
Okay, does it work properly in extreme cold temperature? Is it possible to warm the battery or not?
We haven't really tested that. It should work pretty cold. I think the e-ink display can get a little slow, maybe in the super cold.
Yeah, so we are using a paper display, and the paper display actually takes an input from a temperature sensor that's within the electronics, so that the contrast on the display will always show up properly regardless of the temperature. The battery should work in very cold environments. Of course, it's something we need to test, but the current draw is so low that a lithium battery like that should be able to keep up in any temperature.
Okay. Yeah, so you heard that, hopefully. Yeah, very low draw on our battery, so it'll work well in cold. And the screen also is built in to make sure the contrast stays there in the cold. So it should work really well in cold environments. We are located in Colorado, so we'll get plenty of testing this winter on our Mapbox demos that are going to be in the state with us. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like you're talking about like negative 40C. Of course, we'll need to test that.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun to test that. We're also
Yeah.
going to do full, just general durability tests of this. Like this is Gorilla Glass on here. It's all carbon fiber, as you can see, carbon fiber and aluminum. But yeah, we're going to destroy one of these things before too long here and just see what it takes. So yeah, I mean, we've built it to be very durable, but we are going to test it and try to break it and see what we can do.
Is there a 138 millimeter stage?
Not yet. That is one of the things. Yeah, we'll be adding a rear 138 stage. I don't know exactly when. It'll be a little later after the release. So if you're using 138 to start with, you'll have to use a drop-in whatever, you know, a 138 filter holder to put it in. But we'll be coming out with one of those also for diopters. But also, yes, the backstage. And our diopter one will be specialized to work with the filter reading. So it'd be diopter reading in that case. But yeah.
That's it.
Cool. Well, I guess we don't have any other questions. Yeah. So again, you know, follow us on social media. On Instagram is where we tend to be. I don't know, very active. We're not super on the social media thing, but definitely go follow us on Instagram and sign up for our pre-order stuff on our website. On our website, we'll again make sure that we send out a couple notifications before we do release any pre-orders, since there are so many people signed up to give everybody equal opportunity. Yeah, if you're ever in Glenwood Springs, Colorado, also, which is where we're located, do definitely hit us up and stop by. We'd love to show off our shop and just hang out with anybody who wants to come by. I know it's a very small town in Colorado and not a very good chance that any of you will be through here, but definitely do. Yeah, and this demo didn't take a super long time, so also make sure you jump over to Philip Vischer's demo on the RE stuff if it's going on currently, if you wanted to try to catch that too. He's probably still going with that, I'd guess. Yeah. So, all right, that's it, I guess. Thanks, and hopefully stay in touch. Hello again. Yeah, so we just had a few more people just jump into our chat right now. So I figured I'd just go over it again quickly. We just finished our demo, but I'm not, yeah, I have no problem just going over it again quickly here. So I'm going to do another quick overview of the Mapbox. Let me know when we're ready. Cool. All right. Again, some people just joined us here. We did just finish our demo, but we got a number of people joining at the end here, so I'm just going to go over it again real quick. Yeah, so this is our filter reading Mapbox here at Light Widow, and I'll just go over the basics real quick. You can see here that I can just put in filters and they will automatically read and display on the side of the Mapbox. That's the primary purpose of the map box. It also will take the filter data, log it to an SD card, and eventually send it to the camera for both to be displayed on the screen, displayed on the, it'll go through motor control actually, so displayed on the hand unit, and also saved in the camera metadata. This is a 3-stage map box, which is just what we're doing right now to start with. I can quickly demonstrate here loading 3 filters. And so you can see that each filter has its own, will show up in its own stage. And these stages are, each one correlates to, each spot on the screen correlates to a different stage on the map box. This is customizable, so right now you can see the polarizer, I just put it in the back there, and it's displaying at the bottom. You can customize that so that the rear stage is at the top if you want. And I guess one of the things I want to emphasize with this, for those of you who just joined, is that all of the programming and all of the the program filters, adding tags, all that stuff, that's all meant to be done either at the rental house or in prep. So when you're actually on set, this just you don't really have to function any differently than you do with a standard map box, because you're not having to do any programming or anything on set. So it's just pretty much replacing Velcro tags and giving you data on set and just saving you time. It saves you time, saves the script supervisor time if they're trying to record this. Here is a look at our RFID tags. So you can see this is just a little paper thin, pretty much piece of tape that goes on the edge of a filter. So if you want to use it in other map boxes or whatever, it doesn't interfere. And it's just super low profile. You can't even tell it's there. Rental houses can even use this to keep track of their filters if they want also, eventually. But so it'll work in an LMB tray or whatever also. So there's no interference there. Very low profile and very cheap. The filter tags are somewhere probably gonna be around $1 or $2 a piece. So no issues with budget there. They're also somewhat reusable, so you can unstick them and stick them pretty easily until the sticky wears off, and then just put a new one on. But again, hopefully rental houses will be keeping these on the filters, so that it just comes from the rental house all ready to go. Or if you are an owner operator, or if you own your own filters, even if you're just a focus puller who owns your own filters, you can pre-tag all of them, or just tag the ones from a rental house in a prep day. I did want to I'll just touch on our back plates here again real quick. So our back plates are a little different from the standard RE back plates, and that they are, you can see the clamp here on the side. So it's a little quicker and easier to take a lens out, but mainly much more secure if you are putting a map box on a a camera crane or something, on a moving car maybe. So you can just do it the old-fashioned way. Right here, there's a thumb knob. You can just tighten it down using the thumb knob, and it's just as secure as it would be with another map box. However, if you want to give it an extra little twist on the thumb knob by opening the lever and then closing it again, now it is ultra secure. Like there is no way that this map box is coming off. It's using a cam lever, so it's like you actually can't untighten the thumb screw with your fingers now. It's beyond finger tight, or beyond what you can even get it to be thumb tight. So if you need it to be super secure, that's a good option. But you can see I just undid the lever, and I can take the map box on and off using only the lever now, which is pretty convenient, rather than having to use the thumb screw. The other thing about these is that they are invertible. So 2 screws, just like the RE map box, but I can rotate it around and put it on the other direction, meaning I can have the lever on the AC side of the camera if I want to. And I'm just going to show you another size here. So here's a 143, for instance. It also, once you put this on, there's no way that these screws can go in unless they're lined up perfectly. Whereas on older versions, it's possible to not line it up quite right, and if the matte box, especially if the camera goes inverted, the matte box can actually fall off of the back plate. So we just made sure that can't happen. This is all stuff we've developed based on requests from focus pullers out there. So yeah, we put a lot of work into all of that extra mechanical functionality. The trays themselves are very similar to the LMB. Just a nice click. You can see the RFID antenna over here, and then a brake system on this side. So the other thing about ours is that if you tighten down the filter, it's actually not scratching. This screw is not putting pressure on the side of the tray itself. It's actually locking it in with a pin. So there is no way this tray can come out once I actually lock it all the way down, because there's a knob that goes into the tray itself. So it literally can't. It's impossible to get out of the matte box. So if you really want it locked in tight, that's another thing that ours does. You can, of course, still move it and tighten it the other way too. So yeah, so still a pretty similar system to what you're used to. We're not trying to have to change your workflow here, but just a little bit of difference in the mechanical functionality of this matte box versus the LMB and other similar matte boxes that are on the market. This one is definitely meant to, it's in that same area of the LMB, just the lightweight matte box. It is, for those of you who weren't here earlier, yeah, here is the LMB matte box. Yeah, the weight difference on these is very minute. Ours is, of course, just a little tiny bit heavier. This is the 2-stage LMB that I have here right now, so it looks a little thinner, but the 3-stage is the same size. So yeah, they're pretty much the exact same size. Ours is just a tiny bit heavier, but it's, especially once you get 3 filters in there, you can't even tell the difference at all. So that's just a question we get often. Another question we get often is the battery life. So yeah, the battery goes for like 2 months of good use. Yeah, so that's a quick overview for those of you who jumped in later. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them up in the chat real quick. I'm pointing to a screen that I'm looking at. Yeah, and I can answer them, but if not, then I think I'm gonna call it a session here. So thanks for joining us. Cool. All right, well, I'll leave this up for just a little bit with the chat window open in case anybody wants to throw in a question, but yeah, for now I'm gonna say goodbye, and yeah, thanks again, and go check out our website and our social media, Instagram, Light Widow Cinema.